All right, guys, I wanted to just kind of go over these answers. I know you could see them at the bottom, but this is a really important skill I want to make sure you have and understand. So this first answer here, when we're looking at this information for number one, this is our number one. So we don't have an author, and so in that case, you move to number two, which is the title of the article, and it's super important that you remember the things that are highlighted. In order to get this right, everything has to be in the right space. So all of these punctuation marks, capital letters, have to be correct. So now is the time is the container where this article is held, and it gets italicized because it's the bigger entity. White House is the publisher, and then you've got the date, and you have to put the whole URL so that it's clickable for a professor to check out, and that's the end of our location there. So for number two, it's a similar entity, but now we've got an author, and then we have our article, which is in quotation marks, and the period at the end. Then it came from People Press, and that gets italicized because it is the bigger entity. And the date. Notice how the date is funky. I know that's weird, but that is just how MLA requires it to be. So we have the day of the week first, and then the month, and then the year with a comma, and then our location to follow for number two. For number three, this one should be similar to the Albert Einstein one. You have the author's last name, the title of the article, the magazine where it came from, which gets italicized, our volume and our number with the appropriate punctuation, the date written in this funky way, the backwards way that you're kind of used to it, and then our location, making sure you put a double P period in order to show that there were multiple pages there. For number four, this is a database, and the good news is you guys won't ever have to do this again because there's a way that you will get your database, just copy and paste this in the future. So here is our author's last name. Here is the title of the article in quotation marks, remembering the highlighted period. It came from Polysymic, which is the container, which gets italicized. I've got my year, my month and my year. JSTOR is the publishing database it came from. And then this DOI, which is only for a database. Source number five, this is how you do a director. It's a little bit different when I specifically want to mention who the director is, but all of this stuff, if you don't know, can be found at PurdueOwl.com. You can look up any MLA issue you have, and they have a great set of resources there you can use, but also use your cheat sheets as well. And then the last one, this is a book title, so notice I don't have anything in quotation marks. This ends up being my number two now. This is number one, my author. This is number two that is italicized with a period. I've got the publishing and then the date there. So I just wanted to go over that. And notice too, whenever I have a works cited page, this is what it would end up looking like. So I would put works cited, and that would be centered. And then all of my citations would then be placed in alphabetical order, and it would look like this, having what's called a hanging indent. And the hanging indent exists so that these last names and title of the articles stick out so we can see them and they're more available to us. So that is the works cited worksheet I wanted to review with you guys for practice purposes.